Stand by for countdown. Prepare audience for maximum impact. Full immersion begins in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Unavoka muziki na mopa maisha ni ya ghetto, msaliti ni petro, sharia muna kwao, wazimu pia na hao, furaha sio mfano, ukabila ndio kwao, hapo nishafika, ukweli na hakika, kadiri ninashika, furaha kwa lahiki, kwenda kwa mashabiki, raji kuziki, beef na fiki, hit na dhiki, muda muna wiki, mimi na himziki, split ni mukiki, kutafuta ziki, kwa makini mfulisi, mchima la sili, feel me.
Don't you know we're talking about a revolution song? Don't you know, talking about a revolution song? Don't you know, we're talking about a revolution song? Don't you know, talking about a revolution.
In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I am the host or the gatekeeper of this particular program, known here on YouTube, Daily Motion, Vimeo, and perhaps other social media, Facebook. I am known as the mighty, mighty, Angel Snub 7. I am your brother and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. As you know, many white people, I don't like saying white. I would rather say pale people or pink people, or in some cases, racist persons who are Caucasian. I don't like saying the word white when describing white people, because in the English language, they have made white in relation to being pure, holy, righteous, trustworthy, and all these things. They know they are not clean. All these things they know. And there's no doubt about it. They know they are not. However, for those of us who study other cultures besides European, white or pale was considered evil. It was considered a sickness. It was considered a curse. So I'm sort of, it's messed up that in a way I should just continue to call these persons white. Then on the other hand, they are, since we do speak English, we should not call them white. So I always say the racist Caucasian people. And when I say racist is an adjective that describes a certain person. So if you are not racist, then you should not care about my calling you the racist Caucasian people. However, that is what built this nation, were racist Caucasian people, and you are the children of those persons. So should I just ignore the fact that you are from races? That would be foolish, because the same type of issues that darker skinned persons had with the racist persons in the past, we continue to have that now. Going into the subject matter of this very short video, which is basically, I'm speaking about racism. As you know, pink people of America, many of them, they love to comment on videos that relate to black people. They love to come and put their 2 cents on videos in relation to that which concerns the issues of black people in America. They are never invited. I very rarely see where, especially in the black power, black conscious, those of us who find ourselves in this type of category or genre, you never see us inviting Caucasian people to our channels. Our mission and our intent is to, or our target audience is the descendants of slaves born in America having dark skin. That's our target audience, and that's who we wish to speak with. However, all the time, you have Caucasian persons always dropping in uninvited. And they have such arrogance, and they don't have good social skills, because at least you could go to the video maker and say, I'm Caucasian, I would like to conversate, I would like to join the conversation. They don't ask anything, and then they want to talk to you like they are the slave master, like they are the all-knowing, what you should and should not do. Those days are over. I would hope. But many of you will go to work Monday morning and it seems as though it's the same old, same old. However, have you ever noticed there are certain topics that these Caucasian persons, they stay away from? Not too long ago, I posted a video. The title was, Send Black People Back to Africa, Donate Now. In fact, I invited the Caucasian people, and I asked Caucasian people with this type of mindset that are always talking about, y'all need to go back to Africa. Well, here's your opportunity. Let us set up a GoFundMe account, or whatever they call it nowadays, and let us send the blacks back to Africa. I received not one comment on the video, and of course, no donation. Here you are running around talking about, let's send the black people back to Africa, then organize yourself, raise the money, and all these black people that are dissatisfied with America, now you have the money, they have the funds, let's get the boats to sailing, let's get the planes to flying, or whatever is necessary, and let's first of all, put your money where your mouth is, and let us see if these black folks that's talking all this Africa stuff, let's see how real they are. Because now you have the money, you have the funding, now find the place, let's go. Black people and Caucasian people, nobody wanted to really respond. Because all these Negroes talking about go back to Africa, they know they don't want to go nowhere. And these Caucasian people don't want you to really go nowhere, because they enjoy you being here so they can clown on you and continue to abuse you, continue to oppress you, continue to murder you in the streets. They want you here so they can feel better about themselves, because they suffer from low self-esteem, even though they have it all. So the black people are sick in America, and the Caucasian people are sick in America. Here's another video they will not comment on, because the title of the video, or the subject matter, is, I'm asking Caucasian people who are the racists. Many Caucasian people will quickly say, I ain't racist, I ain't racist, I ain't racist. Well, who are the racists? At the same time, they will acknowledge that racism exists. The only way racism can have any effect is there has to be a large majority of persons who are actually practicing this mythology or these behaviors. Otherwise, if there was just a small minority of Caucasian people that were racist, who had this certain mentality, it really would mean nothing. So, who are the racists? The racists are Caucasian people. And they are so-called human beings. I would not call these persons human beings, because another human being would not enslave another human being. Another human being would not hate another human being for no reason that has done nothing to them. These are sick persons. Another human being would not find something about another human being that they feel they are superior over. That's a sick mentality. That, I hope most of you would agree, as far as what a racist is. One who believes they are supreme over another simply because of skin color. No other reason. Because clearly, many of them are not very intelligent or smart, not very athletic, or none of these different things. So simply due to their skin color. But it ain't me. I'm not racist. But since they are Caucasian people, they have to be related to somebody. And you know that your mama is racist. And she is the governor of the state of Vermont. You know your daddy is racist. And he's the professor at a school. Or a police officer. Or a police chief or a fire chief, or in these positions. A big shot guy in Hollywood. You know who they are, but you won't snitch on them. You know who they are. You won't snitch on your cousin and your uncle and your aunt and your mother and father, brother and sister. They are loyal to the racists, but at the same time, I ain't racist. But under American law, you don't have to commit a murder. However, if you are witness to the crime, or you know about the planning of a crime, and you don't speak out, they call you an accessory. Although you didn't pull the trigger, although you did not participate in the murder, or the robbery, or whatever the crime is, they call you an accessory. You may not be a racist yourself, but you are an accessory to racism. So you might as well just go ahead and be a racist. It ain't me. It ain't me. Well, who is it then? You won't say. So now, for example, I am bit by a rattlesnake. I almost died from being bit by a rattlesnake. So after I am bit by the rattlesnake, which is poisonous, I have no idea of which snake is venomous and non-venomous. So after the trauma of almost dying from being bit by a snake, I fear all snakes. So don't you think, or should you not be shocked that black folks who are in their right state of mind, we should be cautious after being bit by this snake called the United Snakes of America and its people? But instead you want to blame the victim. How you going to blame me for having fear of the snake? I did not bite the snake. The snake bit me. We did not place Caucasian people into slavery. We did not discriminate. We did not rape and rob and murder Caucasian people. They did that to us. So should we not be cautious? I don't have time to run around trying to figure out, oh, is this Caucasian person? He's not a racist, and she, just because you marry a white guy, or a black person, excuse me, just because you Caucasian and marry a black person or a dark-skinned person, that don't mean you're not a racist. The racists were sleeping with black folks, raping black women, raping black children, raping black men. You have no problem with loving and going to bed with black folks, so that don't mean nothing. Because when it's all said and done, you'll call your black lover a nigger. This happens every day. Then after you calm down, oh, you know I didn't mean it or whatever, blah, 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 over and over. So you have many black folks that trust Caucasian people after we have been bitten by them for over 400 years, and you keep getting bit over and over and over again. In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I am the gatekeeper or the host of this particular program, known here on social media as the mighty, mighty, mighty Angel Snup Nup 7. I am your brother, and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. I would first like to say that before I respond to my little brother, who many of us know of as Brother Polite, this young man, in my eyes, if that means anything, is such a brilliant young man. I love to hear Brother Polite speak. I love to see Brother Polite when he is in debate mode. He carries so much wisdom at a young age. However, I would advise my brother Polite that sometimes things are not as complex as we believe they are. And sometimes basic thinking is better than complex, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Now, with that said, not being a hater, not being jealous, but being one who speaks to my brothers and my sisters, coming to you in a very humble manner, just wishing to show you an error or a flaw which I believe that you have made, in hopes that you don't believe that I am a hater, but someone who is attempting to just make you think a little bit more, whereas perhaps we can become better. And we are growing better. I am responding to a statement that Brother Polite made in a video, and he says this all the time. Brother Polite says that economic empowerment is the solution to the problem of the so-called Negro in America, or the descendants of slaves born in America having dark skin. I would like to say to you, my most dearest young brother, that economic empowerment, the coming up out of poverty, is a part of black liberation, but it is not the total solution, and I will tell you why. And since many of you are historians, then you should already know why economic power in and of itself is not a total solution to our dilemma in America. May I remind us, according to what I've been told, that if Black America was a nation unto itself, we would be the 10th richest nation on the planet. The money that we get out of the United States economy would make us the 10th richest country or nation on the planet if we were indeed a nation. And may I also remind us that for some reason we believe that black people have always been so poor and broken in poverty. That is not true. Yes, we live in poverty. Yes, we are poor and broke. But at the same time, we as a people, we are far from being poor and broke. Coming up out of slavery, having nothing, saving our dimes and pennies and nickels, even though the racists was cheating us out of our monies, black people were still able to save and buy land and start businesses and do the things that you are attempting to do right now. In fact, we had so much economic strength as a people. And this is prior to integration. We had to look upon one another as a source of strength, as a source that we could take advantage of. We had only another black face. Right out of slavery, you had the coming up of all black towns. You know this. We had Black Wall Street that was developed, not only in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but also on the East Coast. When we speak of poverty coming from out of black people, basically you're talking about inner city crime when we are placed one on top of one another, and in cities you don't have resources. I come from a family of sharecroppers, and speaking with my grandmother, I asked her about the Great Depression. She said to me that the Great Depression had no effect on her. Although they were poor sharecroppers, but they had skills. They knew how to grow their own food. They were making their own clothes. They were doing, basically taking care of themselves because they had a land base. So the Great Depression did not bother them. If you do not have no land, if you do not have no skills, then yes, poverty is going to be a problem because you have nothing to latch on. You have nothing to, what's the word I'm looking for? You have nothing to work with. So many black people were poor. They were in poverty, but yet and still they were maintaining themselves because they still had some type of land base. So we definitely need land. Now, when we have money, what is a consequence of us, many of us having money, which you see right now today? One of the problems is greed. So many of us and our leadership, you see them pompous, running around in their fancy clothes and cars and all these different things. There's no, brothers and sisters, there's nothing wrong with having nice things. But even those of you who say you are Christians, you know that there is something called greed. And when you cross over that line into greed, greed brings problems to society. It's too much. When you eat too much, you become fat. And it endangers your health. Greed and certain persons with wealth that don't know what to do with that wealth, because the wealth should always be directed not at individual desires, individual lusts, individual wants, but wealth should always be directed at what is in the best interest of a people or a nation. So you can have somebody like Brother Polite said, that brother, I don't keep up with boxing, what's his name? The brother that just made all that money. He could care less what's going on with black folks. Barry Gordy that owned Motown could care less what's happening with black folks. I'm out here to make money, make myself rich. So you can have money and it does not mean nothing. And I want to be rich to do what? So I can try to live like and be like my massa. So I can live like the racist folks. And when you get this money, are you going to be prejudiced against other brothers and sisters because they don't believe what you believe? So because I don't believe in God, and because I'm not a Christian, you won't support me. Because I don't believe in this African thing y'all got going on, or this black thing that y'all got going on. So you got economic empowerment, and you talk about that you want to help black folks, but here's a black man, here's black women and children, but because they're not on your train, you want to use your money to force others to do what you want, and that ain't nothing but slavery. And I'm not going to be your slave. I'd rather be homeless on the street somewhere. The day of slavery is over. Another problem with economic empowerment is that you don't control the value of the dollar. So since you're dependent on the value of the dollar, then you must maintain that which gives your money value, which is racism. So you can talk all that black stuff that you want, but when it's all said and done, you still a supporter of Caucasian racist pink supremacy. Economic empowerment. Marcus Garvey had money. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad had money. Where are they now? What happened to them? They had money. You can't defend what you build. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had all these businesses, but he had internal and external forces and could not defend and could not keep what he built. Nor Marcus Garvey or any of you, because you cannot defend. So what happened to the black towns? What happened to the things that the black folks that had money, economic empowerment, what happened to all those things? They could not defend it, so the racists just came in, and at any time they could destroy you. So what's the sense? So how is that a solution to a problem when the same racists are still here, control your money, you live among them, and they can do whatever they want to you at any time, and they can make up anything to justify it. Whether it's justified or not, by the time they're finished, you probably can't recover when they attack you. But above all, you have the mindset of racists. You have the mindset of your oppressor. There's nothing wrong with having nice things, but when you cross over to greed, when you want to show off, when you think you better than other people because they don't have, that becomes a problem. It becomes a problem because you have many tools. Black folks ain't broke. You got money. Ain't done you no good in 400 years. You have education. Ain't done you no good in 400 years. You got the right to vote. Ain't done you no good in 400 years. All these things combined is ineffective. And do you know why it's ineffective? Because you're confused. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I'm a Muslim. I'm a this. I'm a that. You're confused. There is no unity. There is no organization of the mind. In fact, you have the wrong state of mind. And until you come into the right state of mind, you can have all the money, all the education, and all these things which you already have right now. It's not working. And when you continue to do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, That is called insanity. And that's why many of you don't like to speak with and be around your brother, Angel Snub Nub 7, because you know that I know that you have gone insane. So most of you really hiding behind Black Power, just trying to make your own thing. You just want to pump yourself up. Not saying that Brother Polite is guilty of that, but that's why you're out here. With that said, think about what I'm saying. In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I am the gatekeeper or the host of this particular program, known here on what some may still call the World Wide Web. I am known as the mighty, mighty, Angel Snub Nub 7. I'm your brother, and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. I was just watching a few videos by some of the brothers that's teaching our people what they believe our people, those who are descendants of slaves, having dark skin, born in America, what they need to know as far as knowledge of self and science and so forth. Now, these brothers I noticed in these particular videos, not all of them, but for some reason, we like to put books in the background. And there's nothing wrong, of course, with the reading of books. There is a belief that reading books makes you intelligent. There's a belief that reading books make you smart. Now, there's no doubt that there are lots of information, factual information, that we can use contained in books. However, the negative side of books, or the drawback of reading lots of books, is that we must consider that many books are of personal opinion. Many of them are of theory, not facts, theory or belief. Many books are based in prejudice against other human beings, animal life, even the planet itself. Many books are based in fantasy or fiction. Many books are based in fiction accepted as some kind of reality. A book is written, or basically it is submerged in the eye of the beholder. So you cannot accept or believe that just because you read a book, that does not really make you intelligent. It does not make you smart. The only way it makes you smart and intelligent, if you're able to notice all these things, put aside that which is not factual, put aside those things that's just of a personal opinion, be able to see through certain aspects of the book, and that what makes you smart. That what makes you intelligent, when you're able to take what is good in books and be able to put aside that which is not so good. Because science and education, all these different things, no matter if it's coming from the racist Caucasian people or anybody, many times historians and scientists, no matter what era or people it comes from, it can become prejudice to make the ones who are in power, to make it look as though and put them on a high pedestal as far as possible. We must remember that there were many books written to show, without a doubt, that black folks are inferior genetically and in other ways to Caucasian people and other people on this planet. We, of course, know that is not true. We have shown that and proven that over and over again. But it was found and the information has been put in a book. And there are some people who believe still in that book, no matter what you put forth. Oh, those are exceptions to the rule, but these people as a whole, they are inferiors. Before the paper, before the stone even, where ancient people placed information upon, a lot of information was verbal. Information was passed down from one person or generation to generation by speaking the information instead of putting it in a book. And just like books, the information was accepted like it's actual facts, and you're not considering the fact that the information is tainted. It has error, it has flaw, it has prejudice, it has theory, it has belief, it has fiction and fantasy. But we accept it as facts, as just like when we go to college and we are trained and taught from books. All these books you think are facts, real truth, and they are not. Now, but, so, going back to verbal knowledge, you passing information down from generation to generation, but what if an ancient people witnessed something or experienced something they have nothing to that they can relate to? How can you describe an apple when you never seen one before? Well, okay, it's round. And it's hard to describe the fruit when there's nothing that you can make reference to it, or something more of a complex nature. What if you were in ancient times and saw a 747? How would you describe that? Things of this nature might have happened to ancient people. There might have been a technology that existed. What we think is technology today, it might have existed even during ancient times, and the ancient people were trying to describe it, but since they didn't know what that was, they didn't know exactly how to describe that. Do you understand what I'm saying here? So, verbal knowledge being passed down, the story get twisted, and people take in, they take out, and all this kind of stuff. And next thing you know, you have the Holy Quran, and you have the Holy Bible. And you also have other stories that have survived the ages. Now, what does the Holy Bible, the Holy Quran, other religious texts, as well as verbal knowledge, what does all these things have in common? They were written not by God. In fact, it is very clear that God did not write anything. God sent revelations to a man. And the man, in order to relate what this God is saying to the people, he had to use his what? Brain. So the revelations came through the brain. And if the revelations came through the brain, God did not speak through the foot. The foot did not talk. The hand did not talk. Can't communicate with the hands like that or the legs. It came through the brain. So if this is true, then the brain has a connection to the God. So if the prophet or the messenger, because of his brain, that was the tool that the God used in order to communicate with the rest of the human family, then if I have a brain and you have a brain, then doesn't it not make sense that once you come into your right state of mind, that is what the Bible and the Quran is trying to get you to do, come into a right state of mind, so that you can regain your connection to the Father, regain your connection to God, which that connection is your brain. It is your brain. The problem with us is we have a brain. We have our own personal connection to the God, to the universe, to the Creator, whatever the essence that brought us into being. We have a connection to that ourselves, but we would rather use somebody else's book, somebody else's brain, somebody else tell somebody else's story instead of finding a story and using our own brain. At least the thing that you could do is use your brain to examine the information that's given to you to see whether it has any validity to it. But we don't. We use another person's brain. So is Jesus Christ this? Prophet Muhammad that? Elijah Muhammad said this. Farrakhan said this. Brother Fuma said such and such. But never your own brain. But where is Farrakhan getting it from? Where is Messenger Muhammad getting it from? Where are all these people getting all these revelations and teachings from? They're getting it from because they claim to have a connection to God. You have a brain. Is their brain better than yours? So if that's the case, why is God prejudiced one person over another? But yet this God's supposed to love everybody and we're all the same. We're all God's children. But one person is better than another. Another one can talk to daddy. Another one can talk to mama. But I'm a child of God, but daddy won't talk to me. You got to go through Jesus to get to me. Wow. So if I'm using my brain and you're using your brain, when you're using one person's brain, then you're dependent on the sight of that person. What if that person cannot see well? You can see better than that person. It's just like you and I walking into a forest. If I just depend on your sight, then I don't see the snake on the ground because you don't see the snake on the ground. Or if we're in the forest and we're hunting deer, you don't see the deer, but I see the deer. The purpose of everybody having your own brain and not connected to nobody else so that you can see things for yourself. You don't need all these leaders. The purpose of the Realist temple is not to make slaves, not to make followers. You can have somebody that can represent us, but you don't need no leader. You don't need to be following nobody. That's the first step. Next thing you know, you're a slave to somebody. And they know that you depended upon them. So if they are limited in their sight, you can go no further than the person's sight that you following. But yet and still, you should be able to see, because when we come into this world, you was given your own brain, your own eyes, your own lips to speak. But we become dependent on these special divine folks. And the purpose of Bible and Quran and all these other religious texts is to get us to the point where we can master ourselves. In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I am the gatekeeper or the host of this particular program, known here on the internet as the mighty, mighty, Angel Snup Nup 7. I am your brother, and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. You want to know something? Well, you don't know. I'm going to tell you. I just recently had a negative, bad confrontation with a group of black women. And based on that negative confrontation or interaction with these black women, and I have also had negative or bad interaction with black women in the past. I could easily come on YouTube, like so many black men, based on my personal interaction with this particular individual or this group of people. I could easily say, you know, everything Tommy Sotomayor says is right. And black women are beastie. Black women is the devil. All these different things I could say. I could join that group of people, and overnight, my views will blow up. Because if I decided to do that, I could probably do a better job than Tommy Sotomayor or any of these other brothers. Well, I can't even, how can you call a man a brother who hate the mother of our people? But he does. But that's his personal thing. My personal thing is that I am a defender of mother. That is why the sisters, whether they were married to black men, had black men as boyfriends, or some of them was even married to Caucasian people, they gave me the title Divine Masculine. And Divine Masculine is just a male who defends womanhood. And I would do that because mama deserves defense. And in nature, some of y'all claim that you know nature. Then in nature, you know, in most cases, one of the main jobs or roles of males in nature is to defend that female. You see this in lions, and you see this in other animals, in deer, in other mammals. So I could easily do that, but I'm not, because I'm here to bring us the real truth, regardless to my personal experience, and that's what I'm going to do. And also, I'm not going to allow my interaction, which was negative, to taint my love for black women, because my mother is a black woman, my aunts is black women, my sisters, my cousins, my neighbors. I love black women. I'm not going to allow, because I had to deal with a group of people that are fools and idiots. They don't know what they're doing. They're just ignorant. I'm not going to allow their ignorance, their bad behaviors, their foolishness to destroy my love for black women who have been there and have been trying to hold up black folks since we have been in this situation called slavery. I want to say to black men, you have to stop trying to make slaves out of black women. Just because racists do it, just because the Indians do it, I'm talking about the Indians in over there in India or whatever, just because the Chinese do it, or maybe the Japanese do it, or whoever, that don't mean you have to do it. Stop trying to make slaves out of our women. We should be sick of slavery, no matter the form, whether it's against us as a people or women as a gender, you should be sick of all forms of slavery. And the roles, the things that you want black women to become part of, that ain't nothing but slavery. You can't accept that slavery is over for them. Their relationship is over. Our women, females, don't want to accept these roles that you want to put them into. It's slave roles. I will agree with that. I stand with them on that. You can accept that slavery, that type of relationship is over, and it will never be the same again. The role that you want black women and our females to participate in is based in prejudice, it's based in male supremacy. All these things equal slavery. And I am against slavery in all forms. They don't want it. Just like you claim you don't want to be a slave to Caucasian people anymore, whether that is mentally or physically, you don't want to be a victim of racism anymore. She is a human being. The only difference between you and her is a genitalia. That's all. But you want to make it like your penis is greater and better than her vagina, which is ludicrous, period. Now, you also want her to participate in these roles that you have created based in religion or a woman's role in ancient times. That's over with. It's biased and it's unfair. This is 2015. This is not 5,000 years ago. This is not a hunter-gatherer society. None of those things. And what we find in religion, we know that religion is prejudice because religion was not written by man. By some God. It was written by men. And men, since men wrote the holy text, of course, they would make themselves and put themselves in a supreme position, a better role. Then you want these women to become what you want them to be, but you don't have to change. You don't defend black women. You have not provided for her children. You have not provided food, clothing, and shelter. You're still living in the house of racists, but you want her to become your slave, but yet you don't have to change. You can continue to live happy in your slavery under the Caucasian man. You still licking his backside. So I guess if she licking your backside, you feel better about your licking his backside. Y'all crazy. And no, black women, you don't have to accept that. No, black women, you're not a slave. You don't accept that. Slavery is over. Period. How can a man be better than a woman anyway? You can't bring life. You don't have a womb. You can't bring life into our reality. The only thing you can do is help. Well, without a black man, she can't bring no life. That's true. At this time, the black woman needs your help to have a baby. But at the same time, guess what? You and we is happy to help. You happy to help with a smile. You ready for that pleasure. You can't wait to get between that woman's, you know what? You do it with a smile. But you want to control everything. And you want to be able to say you have something to do with the forming of that life when you don't have a womb. You want to be able to control the womb. And that's what it's all about. You want to be, since you don't have a womb, you want to be able to control the woman. Because you can't form life. You have an ego problem. Males have an ego problem. That woman don't care. She is so happy to carry that life for you. For us as a people. She's not trying to control you, manipulate you, make a slave out of you. In nature, when we study mammals. And since the black woman have breasts, and we are a form of animal, whether you like it or not, we are mammals. Any life form that feeds its young with milk is a mammal. And you have warm blood. The females rule. Has nothing to do with having a big head. That was the role she was given. She's a leader. She brings a life into the world, and she directs and guides that life and teaches that life so it can survive in this reality. And the black woman right now, and she has done in the past, and all women can do, with or without a male around, and you see this in nature also. Female bears don't have a male. He gets the baby, he goes on about his business. And you see this in a lot of male mammal creatures. They get the baby and they live solitary lives. And the female bear raised the male bear and the female bear with no problems. You never heard of a homosexual bear. This is madness that was created, of course, in corrupted society, where minds are corrupted with chemicals as well as with mental stimulation, actually being taught that type of behavior. Also, our poor children are sexually exploited. The women are exploited. And of course, many suffer from get these behaviors due to incarceration. So all these factors, you don't have all that in nature. However, when you put these animals in incarceration, when you put them behind bars, you will see so-called homosexual behaviors and how animals exploit one another because of incarceration. Women can do this. And you say, how can they do this? Once women are placed back in their right state of mind. There's nothing wrong with women leading anything. In fact, black women have been trying to do this job, that she should have some help for the last 400, close to 500 years. She's never had a real connection to the black man because of slavery. And then once we were physically released from slavery, the black man, since he had no other example of manhood, he decided